All right, back on Pinky here. Welcome back to Left 4 Dead Garage. Back on Pinky here. It is plumbing day. So I hope that I've got everything I need to plumb the brakes, but I realized that I didn't double my order on one item. So depending on how many screw-ups I have, we may or may not have enough brake line tubing. But if need be, I'm pretty sure Advance Auto, or O'Reilly's for that matter, probably has that nickel seal, I don't know, it's the copper coated brake line tubing. Yeah, that. I can't even remember how long this coil is. Guess I could look at a invoice, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what I did with that invoice. So I just have to print that off the Summit website. I also got the Clutch Master reservoir, and these are just some weld-on tabs and the clips to hang those hang the brake hoses. So also kind of splurged here and got a tool I've been wanting. I know I'll put it to use, especially, clearly on this truck, my 55 in there. I might be 107 before I get to it, but I'll have the tool. And I got two jobs coming that more than likely will require brake line plumbing. So I got this, there's smaller handheld device type straighteners that you can get, but this thing will do fuel line too. And I also know that 55, whatever else I've been working on, maybe this thing, the fuel line tubing, and that truck for sure will have to plumb fuel line tubing, because that thing's got 20 some feet of regular old rubber 3/8 line, and that's not good. So I bought this thing is a Summit brand, and it is rather robust. Look at that. These are steel ball bearing. Adjust it this way, run the tubing back and forth, straight line. This thing wasn't that cheap, but it's pretty handy. Didn't realize it only had one of some, which kind of stinks, but I got part numbers I think I'm going to stock up on some of this to try to keep my run-ins back and forth down to the parts store. Let's see, I covered the Clutch Master. That's just firewall mounted. I really wanted a nice billet one, but they were pretty pricey. If she wants me to put a billet one on there, we'll gladly do that. But that one will suffice, and it would be nice if I could put it under the floor somewhere where you could access it along with the master cylinder, because that's not something that you need to get to daily. Now, you only need to get to it when there's a problem, so then you really need to get to it. This stuff came with some gravel guard, which is handy places that might need it, especially like if it's a long run along the frame or something like that. I bought a bunch of these things, little brake line clips, because I figure the more secure it is, the better it looks, and well, just the better it looks. Covered these. I was going to do a hydraulic brake pedal switch or brake light switch. Everything I read had bad reviews. It didn't matter what brand it was, everybody said these things leak. I did not want to do that, so this will probably be floor mounted, and we'll let the pedal arm activate the brake light switch. That yellow 5345 whatever Ford that I had in here had a switch similar to that. So keep it clean wiring accessories. So unfortunately not something that you can just run to Advance or O'Reilly's and get, but I didn't want the possibility of a brake line leak. Proportion valve, it's a disc drum valve. This thing is set up to where the drum is in the front, which works out perfect for this thing, since the master faces the wrong way. It'll go to the master like this. Well, it aims the rear brake line toward the rear instead of making some crazy loop. somewhere around here I bought a tubing bender, and then I could have swore I had some pliers, some brake line pliers for bending, but I seem to have already lost that thing. Let me see if I can find it. All right, actually I did have a pair of these. I found them. I could have swore I bought some. So here's this tubing bed. This thing's a little bigger than I had thought it was going to be, but it had great reviews, and it must be something that's been made for 100 years, because there's some on eBay that are ancient, but I was afraid due to the plastic or the nylon it might be brittle. But it had tons of good reviews. So it does 3/16 1/4 inch. What else does it do? 3/16 1/4 inch, 5/16 and 3/8. I thought it just did 3 sizes. So I guess what you do is, oh yeah, it's got 2 holes there. So you just swap that little die, flip it around, and it'll do the front 2 holes or the back 2 holes or whatever. So we'll mostly be working in this 3/16 one until we get into that 3/8 line, which is that guy right there, for the fuel line. I could have swore I ordered fuel line. I'm sorry, I'm not with it today. I did order fuel line. It was laying in the floor beside the tubing bender that I couldn't find, but this is just Summit brand 3/8 steel zinc coated fuel line. So that's what I've got. I forgot to order the clutch line redesign setup or whatever, but I also still have to do power steering plumbing, and I didn't want to buy a bunch of stuff in case I got the wrong stuff, because you know, sometimes places are weird if it's a couple weeks and you go to return things. So I wanted to make sure, try to double check and make sure what fittings I needed for the rack, since it's Mustang 2, it's probably metric, and then what fitting is in that power steering pump, whether it be O-ring or inverted flare or whatever that is, because I just ran into that situation on this situation. So I think first thing I'm gonna do is let's get this proportion valve mounted, and maybe we will tackle the back half and see how long that video takes. If it doesn't take that long, then we'll jump directly and do the front half. If not, I'll split this video up. So let's get the plumbing.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Product, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
All right, so I just kind of like lightly bolted this thing up. I am really liking this so far. So she was already plumbed. Like I said, aims the rear at the rear. Then the front comes out over here on this side on this other part. So I'll just come straight to the frame rail, 90 degree, shoot it down through there. We'll tee it for the left front, all the way down 90 across the where the radiator is, 90 back in, come back this way, shoot it over there. I highly doubt I can do that in one piece. So it'll probably be a 2-piece deal, simply because how am I going to route a rectangle around all that and make it look good? So that's why. Brake plumbing, I might have covered this. The brake system plumbing and fuel for that matter, since the fuel tank is mounted, we say that loosely. All this crap should have been done way before the cab made it onto the truck, because there would have been nothing in the way. Why would you want to build a truck and then try to plumb everything around it? It's crazy. But hey, who am I? I don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, we got this bad boy here. I'm gonna come off of there. I don't think this will interfere. If it does, we'll have to make some bends accordingly, which we got room this way. We could always cut this and reflare it, shorten it up, you know. So we'll deal with that when we have to deal with that. Where are we at? I need to move the clutch sleeve over here, some safeware. Set it in here. That'll probably swing down and smack me in the face. Now it does have this line here. Oh, there goes my flashlight. Now it does have this line that's, well, I mean, I've bent it right here trying to get it out of the way, but I mean, it's plumbed back there, but that's that custom curly Q. We don't need a rubber hose between the frame rail and the rear end setup right there. So I'm going to remove that, and we're going to put a brand new one in there. We could probably save that, use it for parts if we need to. Maybe, well, I've got that brake line right there that runs wheel cylinder to wheel cylinder, so it looks okay. I may run it through the straightener and then just start over with it. Since they've already got it plumbed, we might just use it. But yep, let me get this custom unit out of here, and we'll see if we can't come up with a routing plan for this brake. Also noticed that I probably should get under here and tighten up the cab mounts, because those definitely are not tight. These are. Those are not. So need to do that too. Let me get this line out and let's see if we can, and I'll probably use, I got some TIG wire in there that I could sacrifice, and we could use the TIG wire to get us an idea in our measurements. Because I'm not the greatest at this, but we will make it as good as I can possibly do it. And if I can't do it and make myself feel good about it, I'll find somebody that can. So let's see what we can do here. All right, bear with me on this, because I actually tried it out on a 90. I'm going to use this piece we got out of there for my test dummy piece here. A smart guy would just cut it off about right here and then just have a short piece, but I'm not smart, so this is too long, which is fine. I can trim it back to whatever. So this will be going into the proportion valve. So you're looking at it like this. Proportion valve's here. It'll come out 90 to the frame rail, 6 inches, 6.5 inches. I done forgotten. I've been there 3 times and measured it. So 6.5 inches, I believe, and then it'll 90 up to a 5-inch run, and then it'll 90 back. So it'll come out over to the frame rail this way and then that way. That makes sense. So it'll go up and then back that way. Will I be successful? I don't know, but we'll find out. And I'll keep buying material until I am successful, and I'll just, you know, the cost of learning. So, and being that I am learning, this is off the clock. This is off the clock. So the bending and the fiddling, not counting that toward working on it, the installation, that's all I'll do. So, but yep. What was I doing? Oh, let me measure that for the 3rd time. So I got my mic on, and I'm gonna say this, that way you can hear it and I can forget it 5 minutes from now. 6.5 from the center line of the fitting on the proportion valve to the frame rail. And then from the bottom of the frame rail to the top, it looks like we need about 5 inches. And then we'll make that hard 90 back to the back. So say it again here, 6.5 is our first run, 5 inches is our second run. Here's where I'll screw this up, is making it too short or too long. Or what'll probably happen is I'll do this one fine, and then I'll screw the actual real one up. So 6.5 from here to here somewhere. Got a Sharpie, 6.5 inches. I used to have an actual tubing bender. And that was an interesting deal to try to figure out, add your radius and all this other mess. So this thing would probably be good if it had a little block on the back. You could put it in the vise. So we're coming in like this. No, we'll have to be in like this. Also have to keep in mind the center line of the little brake line, like trying to keep this guy level. So let's put a little tension on this so it don't wander. Almost need me a rack or something to hold, run this through a piece of tubing, clamp it to the thing, and then that way you can hold it. So if I bend it right there on my mark, will it give me 5 inches or will it take from it because of the radius? So I've got my mark right in the center of that little die. All right, so we're still in the center. That looks pretty well level. I'm just going to try it in the center and just see what happens. All right, that's a little past 90, so maybe it's got some spring to it. Here's where you need a buddy running the drill. Why is it so tight coming back? That's weird. I'm knocking everything off. Well, maybe you don't need a buddy with this unless he's wearing a full face helmet and protective goggles, because I'm a bit dangerous. And I don't know why this thing got tight. Like, why would it get tight? I'm gonna spray a little sauce on there. I mean, I wouldn't think that we're doing anything remotely enough to mess the threads up on this. Let me put a little something in there. Maybe I didn't tear it up. All right. Was my run 6.5 inches? It's a little, well, it's pretty close. So if I center it, it looks like it'll get me pretty close. I know you probably can't tell. Let me wedge this in the rafters somehow. So it's about 1/4 inch too much. Is it workable? Certainly. Maybe not even 1/4 inch, pretty close to the backside. So we didn't miss by much. What was that other number we had? 5 inches? All right. Well, let's mark 5 inches. You know what? I'm gonna cut this off. I'm getting dangerous here, because it's just a test piece and it doesn't matter. And it would be so much easier to work with. Oh, and I guess I need to talk about this flare tool that I'm also learning how to use. It belongs to Charlie. And just playing around with it there for a minute, I quickly made a double flare and a inverted flare within seconds. we'll put that right there. That way we can slam the garage door on it and completely ruin it. But it's a master cool unit, hydraulic deal. I'm sure you've probably seen them. I have a rule that if I need it more than twice, then I need to buy it. Well, just after playing it around, I don't need to use it more than twice. I need to just go ahead and buy this thing. So, well, I don't need to borrow it more than twice. I just need to go ahead and buy one, because it does double flare, inverted flare, fuel lines. There's one that does transmission lines. This one may not be it because the spot's empty. Metric bubble flare, push connect fittings. But those GM fittings we're going to play around with later. But that fuel line that I got out there, and then I think I've got some, I don't know if that's 3/8 up there or not, but we'll see if we can make some LS quick connect lines. And if that's the case, it's well worth the money. And I really want those transmission dies in the kit that I get, because that will be nice too, instead of running rubber hose. All right, what was that number? 5 inches? I've already squirreled. So we went a little beyond 90. Straighten it up a little. So 5 inches. From here is about right there, we'll say. And that 5-inch run, so we're coming out of the proportion valve to the frame rail. This goes, so this one will bend 90 this way, 90 that way, and that will run back toward the rear end. Now, you know, we could put a union in this and it'd be just fine. Put a union in there, that way if you had to service it, if something happened, something freak happened, well, you just have to run that straight piece. So that may be a wise thing to do. It's a leak point, but it may be the thing to do. It may be easier, instead of trying to run a big risk of bending it up, trying to go through that cross member in there. All right, so anyway, let me put this in here. Act like I've been there. All right, so what'd I say? We're coming out. Uh-oh, I've done got lost. There we go. Master or proportion valve, frame rail, back that way. So we got to bend this direction. So we're going to put, there's our mark right here. I'm going to try to center it up, put a little tension on this thing. We got to try to keep it happy and bend it straight. All right, looks pretty good. Let's give that a shot, see what happens. So this has to be a 90. Let's give it just a touch more, and then we'll back it out. I guess this thing needed a little bit of sauce on it because it slid right out of there. Okay, so this will be to the rear end. Let's go see how close we got. I'm just going to take half of this thing with me. I mean, like I said, to the master, to the proportion valve is long. I would leave that long anyway, that way you got some room to cut it down and flare it. Okay. Somehow I messed that up. So 5 inches was a bit much. I mean, it's snug, you know what I mean? So I guess we could have probably done it 4.5 and then stayed down just a little, because it looks like this little plug or tab here and here would have been where the factory line went. So maybe on the other one we'll cut it down to 3 inches and see what it does. But as far as, it's pretty, I mean, like I said, this is way too long, but this is, you get the idea. So I feel pretty good with that. I don't know how I feel about running all the way down through there, because I need to put a bend in it there as well, and I may do that separately. So what I'm probably going to do is put a union right about here. That way we can make this run and then make that second run. So, well, this worked out all right. We kind of figured out that bender a little bit, and I think what I'll do is I'll cut this one off, and we'll practice a flare on this piece as well, and then we'll just, once we get this one where we like it, we'll kind of copy it. All right, you want to see if we can duplicate it? So I did a test fit. I didn't take you under there with me, but this is the fitting it has to have. I actually used the small fitting at first and then realized that thing, but like I said, we will shorten this section, this vertical section, by let's say 2 inches. We'll put the bend at 3. That should give us plenty of room. Yeah, maybe 4, because this was right at the top of the frame rail. I think 2 inches will be good, but I'll double check it before we commit to anything. This thing is a little overkill for this soft brake line stuff, but I mean, for fuel line and things like that, if you're doing a stainless, it would be great, but it gets it pretty straight. I mean, down here but you gotta figure I'll have some bends in it. Okay, first bend I'm gonna leave long, like I said, so we can kind of get an idea around in here. So I'm going to leave it long. I'm gonna bend it right here. We need a 90. I'm gonna go a little further, because we can always cut it down some. And I've left this piece long as well. And it would be nice if this thing had a T. You know, that's what I might do. I might take it to work and put me a hole in it and do me a T-handle of some sort. Maybe put a set screw in there. All right, we're just going 90. A set screw in there where I can take it out. Just going 90. Go a little further. All right. So there's our first bend to the proportioning valve. So now we have to do a vertical bend of 5 inches. I'm gonna go check it out right quick and see where those clips are. Going 5 inches. So I keep losing my Sharpie. Five inches. There I go again. Five inches right there. So this is out of the master. Oh wait, I about messed up. 5 inches is the last one. Six and a half inches is this one, or 6 inches. Yeah, a 6 inch bend. So this one has to be the 6 inch bend. About messed that up. My 5 inch bend is the vertical to the top. Now, how did I just lay that down there a while ago? So 6 inches. got to bend it this way. All right. So slide it down there, roughly in the middle, and it'll have to bend up. So roughly in the middle. Let's try to make it as flat as possible. Let's try that. So we're going 90. I hope you can see that, my big head not in the way. So we're just about beyond 90 right there. It almost looks like I kind of got it a little, but we can adjust it. All right, so from this bend is the 5-inch run. So lost the Sharpie yet again. So the 5-inch run is right there. And it goes this way. So coming out, gotta bend it like this, that way, get our mark in the middle, right there, looks middle-ish. Spin this around to right there. Well, I had it right anyway, didn't I? So, mark's in the middle, we're coming out to the frame, up, back to the rear end. Oh, going the wrong way. About screwed that up. So there, we're going the right way. That overlook me sometimes. Going 90 degrees. That's a little below 90. That's in the floor. Or a little beyond 90, but that's still in the floor. All right. I'm gonna go under there, test fit it. If it looks good, we'll, it's got a little lump in it right here, so I'll probably come back to right here, cut it off. We'll flare it and see what we got. So I'll be right back. This vertical run, it could have probably got away with a 4.5-inch distance, but it fits in there with some gap, so we're going to roll with it. Let me cut this off with the tube and cutter. Now this is a number 3 or 4 center drill, and that's what they make, a tool, a deburr tool just for this, but I don't have one, so that's the best I've got. All right, don't forget the fitting. You know what? There's a perfect holder. All right, so this is a little cumbersome, but it works. You drop these dies in. This guy right here. Drop them in the right way. And there's a ton of how-to videos on there on the old YouTubes how to do this, so there's plenty of folks better than I. All right, so what you do is that little cone deal, that's the 45 for the flare tool. I probably can't see that little cone deal was the 45 for the flare tool. And then on the double bubble or a bubble flare like this guy, then you bump it out to this little stop here, and that's how you know where you're at. A little tubing and bump that, you'll hold it, that's how you know. Well, I tried that on the first one with this one, and it's clearly flared too much, so I've just eyeballed it on the last couple, and that's what we got, and those worked pretty good. I did a couple just to make sure, so we're going to try it right there. Then you lock your die down pretty snug, and you'll spin this rascal up in there till it stops. So we stopped. Close your valve. I probably should have tried this on a test piece. You'll pump it till it don't like ram it home, just pump it till you feel it stop. Spin it out of there. Loosen your dies. And you got a flare. So since I'm going to order one of these tonight, actually, there's an on-car or on-vehicle flaring tool. It's a little handheld deal. I might get one of those too, because that would probably be handy in certain situations where this monster can't get in there. So let me go mock this up. We'll see if I need to trim any of this off or not. We'll make the flare and we'll see how she fits. Be right back again. All right, I don't believe I'm going to shorten it. I think we're just going to flare where it's at. And it actually ended right there where one of those existing clamps is. And I'll just pop it out and we'll just bolt one of these rubber insulated clamps in right there. So it ends right here, which I can put a rubber insulated clamp, you know, flip it up high instead of running it down low. It looked like they ran it through here, but I'm going to run it through the top since they had previously, I guess it was existing hole here, and they had ran it through here, but it was all like clamped here and clamped here. But I'm going to stay up to the top so it's just a straight stick, and we can just kind of hand form that little section right there. But here's what we got coming out of the proportion valve. And then I wish there was, which I may put a hole, I can use this clamp or this bolt hole as well and just flip me up a little insulated clamp. I may actually slip that gravel guard over this section right here, since it's kind of in line, and it would be freak accident, but a rock could hit that, and I don't want it sitting on that frame rail. So we'll slip some gravel guard on from the back side, and then we'll flare this in for that little smaller fitting. But yeah, there's our first one. All right, before my mic goes dead, so I've got this line built. I've got to get some 1/4 inch wash. Has anybody bought 1/4 inch washers lately that fit a 1/4 inch bolt? Because everything I'm finding in the 1/4 inch section, Lowe's or Tractor Supply, they fit the 5/16 bolt, and my old 1/4 inch washers fit 1/4 inch washers. Has anybody experienced this? Where's the 1/4 inch washers gone? I don't understand. So I think next time I go to Tractor Supply, which is real soon, I'm going to ask them, like, hey, who screwed your washers up? Why is it like this? All right, anyway, so I got my tab on, it's bolted on. This brake hose is 1973 Camaro. I'm sure I'll put the part number in the description, but I'm sure it fits 100,000 other GM cars. This was an in-stock piece at O'Reilly's, so I'm sure anybody else could get it, or Amazon with the same part number. Got the tab on, got this I cut this back because I was not in the flat of the frame. See, it's got like a swoop right there. I do not like those pliers. They put a little dinger in this right here. So those pliers right there, not a fan. I guess in a pinch, that would work. Or maybe it'd be better if you had 2 sets of those, you could hold it. So jumping, I'm gonna charge this mic, got all my junk laid out, and I guess we're gonna make an attempt to see if we can't plumb across this axle, and that'll wrap it up. So see you on the other side of this rear end. All right, no mic, so I have to talk loud. This back half is a little challenging because, well, if I'd quit buying motors and odds and ends like that, I'd probably have it lift a lot quicker, or other things. But yeah, it's a little challenging. And I got the gas tank right here, so my big noggin doesn't fit well. I did get this driver's side line on. Let me see if I can stick in there. All right, there's this side installed. I cleared that vent. It was kind of tricky. Now this side's really going to be tricky because I've got a 4-link bracket to dodge soon as I come out of there. So we're going to have to go 90 to a 90, utilize this clip, and then the factory line goes radius to a flat to a radius across into that into that clip, and then we do something over there. I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to rough measure it with the tape measure and get an idea. I don't know what this radius is or how nice I can make this, but I really would like to try to go radius to a flat to a radius. Maybe a 5-gallon bucket could give me the bend. I don't know. Maybe I can hand bend it because that line is pretty soft, but we'll see what we can do. I just want to make it look as good as I can. So let's start on this line, and we'll call it quits after that for this video because it's probably long enough. All right, this one's a pretty tough one. Couldn't get the radius tight enough. I'm gonna try to clean this up. Couldn't get the radius tight enough to clear that. I'm gonna try to clean it up in one way or another. I thought I had it on there, but then after I realized I bent it and I got my length right, I didn't have enough tubing to flare it. So I'm gonna have to look into getting one of them the OG looking flare tools. I believe I would have had enough room to flare it because that die is so long. It got into the radius, and then another problem was if I put the tube nut on there, then it was totally in the way. So I put the nut on there, then I tried to bend it. I don't really like it. I could probably clean it up a little bit once I get it kind of roughed in. I'm going to try to make it around the actual center section and ring this tab up here. Like ring that tab up there, and then come around and hit this tab. Thankfully I cut it way long, just you know, you never know. I'd rather trim it to fit than be like, ah, crap, get the tubing stretcher. So let me see what I can do about going around this diff and get back to you. I'm not real thrilled about this one. I mean, I think it'll be okay. Just wish I feel like I need a little bit more tools to bend this stuff when it comes to like under here. It gets tough with this. Now this thing works fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I have no regrets about buying that bad boy at all. But it's a little large and the radius is big. So if you're trying to bend close to the end, you'll run out of tubing because your radius is so big it'll drop off that roller right there, or this roller, whichever which way you got it. But I'll show you what I got here. So got that one plumbed in over there into that Camaro brake hose. Goes across. Messed it up a little bit right here, I feel like, and then runs into the wheel cylinder. Probably one of those things where the more I do, the better I get. That's probably obviously how it's going to go. That's basically not too bad of a line to build. So, I mean, if my brain won't let me leave it, then I'll just redo it. But I think that'll do it for now. Next one we'll jump on the front half. The front half video, I'll try to make it a little shorter than this because it's more complicated and this video went way too long. But thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage. We'll see you on the next one.